There has never been a terrible time for France's influence in Africa. I think that many African countries are now realizing that France being in their country is no good. And I have said it many times on this particular show. So I'm so happy when the leaders in Africa, especially those from the French speaking African countries, are realizing that France has to go. They've realized that for the number of years that France has been in their country, that France has been supposedly helping them, they haven't realized any major help. That things have just gotten from worse to worse to worse. They promise to bring peace. They promise to bring security. They promise to make the country stable. But they spend years upon years and still yet the country is not stable. They didn't bring any peace. They were just there doing their own thing. So I'm so happy that French speaking African countries are now saying enough is enough. It started with Mali. Mali said the French no good. Burkina Faso said French no good. Now we now have Central African Republic. And according to this article by the Bangkok Post, the last batch of French forces left Central African Republic. And they have been there for many, many, many years. So let's see what the article is saying. Last French troops leave Central African Republic. The last French troops deployed in the Central African Republic left on Thursday following a chill in relations caused by closer ties between Bangui and Moscow. 47 troops from the Logical Support Unit left Bangui Airport aboard a C-130 transporter aircraft, becoming the last of a 130-person French contingent to leave their troubled country. France, the former colonial power, dispatched up to 1,600 troops to help stabilize the country after a coup in 2013 unleashed a civil war along sectarian lines. The operation, named Sangaris, was France's seventh military intervention in the CAR since the country gained independence in 1960. It wound up in October 2016, leaving a residual French contingent. Over the last few years, friction has grown between France and CAR over a mounting Russian military presence. In 2018, Moscow sent instructors to the country, and in 2020 followed this with hundreds of paramilitaries to help the president defeat rebels advancing on the capital. The large French forces have left Central African Republic, and Moscow is now doing all the heavy lifting. I believe that if Russia or Moscow or paramilitary groups can bring peace to the country, it's a good thing. But like I've always warned about all these countries that are now using Russian military personnel to bring peace to their country, they must be careful. I know I said this in my last video, and someone said it in the comment section that since I am complaining about the presence of Russian forces in the country, I should bring the weapons that I have developed to fight the insurgency groups in the country, which that is fair. Normally, we do not have enough resources or we do not have the weapon to fight those groups. But my point was, we are trying to get rid of Western influence. We are trying to get rid of outsiders. We cannot be trying to push one superpower out only to bring one in. And I have said this before, and I just want to say it one more time that if I am a business person, I would never let myself be out of a job. Because if peace finally returns to these countries, they won't need those paramilitary groups anymore. So they will have to cut their ties with Russia or with Moscow. They won't need you if they finally have peace. If the major fractions that are fighting each other can be put to bed, then there will be no need for these paramilitary groups. So if I am Moscow, I won't let that happen. What I will do is I will mainly do the job to a satisfactory level, but I won't completely eliminate the threat. Or even if I do it here, I will just make sure another one sprung up from somewhere, so that I can keep on being of use to my employer. And one other thing that people must bear in mind is that no Western power, no outsider has come to Africa and decided to live on their own. They must be forced out. Anyone that comes to Africa wants to stay. So now that African countries are pushing out the French, they should not be welcoming the Russians because I believe that the Russians might not want to leave. It's going to be another big fight for us trying to push out the Russians. And it was even allegedly that France was behind some of these insurgency groups, that France was providing a kind of support to them. Mali made that claim. How are we sure that in a couple of years from now, we won't get similar reports of Moscow supporting some of these groups just to stir up trouble so that their services will always be in need? I'm just saying. But to my brothers and sisters out there, what do you think about this move of kicking out the French and welcoming the Russians? Don't you think that it might be another problem in the future when it's time for the Russians to go? They might just say, no, we don't want to go. Or maybe we want to stay a little more longer. Let us know in the comment section below because, like always, we love hearing what you have to say. So, thank you very much and see you in the next one.